and welcome to this module on free will. As we have discussed in the first module that in ancient Greek philosophy, the whole discussion on human mind and morality starts with the concept of free will. But we are learning it in the last part of this week, because unless we understand the concepts of human mind, souls and ethics, we may not understand the need and importance of the study on free will. So, let us understand first as why there was and is a need to study free will. From ages, we human beings want to know whether we are free to live as per our wish. We live in society, so we have to follow certain rules of the society, religion and sometimes political empires. We are aware of the history of slavery and many rebels to set human beings free. If today we talk about growth, development and excellence, we need to understand if we human beings are really free to move as per our wish or aspirations. Hence, we need to understand whether it is purely societal or political will or human beings has got true free choice. And in a way, whatever we have discussed so far in last 3 modules, that is on soul, mind, virtues, justice, happiness. So, is it worth to study or not? For example, when these great Greek philosophers think that a happy man is a virtuous man, means a man has to acquire virtues to be happy. It means it is a matter of learning and wishful learning. Then there must be free choice available with human being to learn, isn't it? So, let us understand what does this concept free will really mean. The concept was initially thought by 400 to 500 BCE, where great thinkers proposed a philosophical basis to the notion of free will. It was a beginning in a way of studying human behavior, human actions, ethics, morality and the choice or decision making capacity of mankind to coin the concept of moral actions. The concept then systematically developed by medieval thinkers under the influence of Christian religion. However, the modern world has diverse views about this concept. Free will, in a general sense, is an ability of the person to make decisions or take actions independently in state of universe. In today's world, this independence and capacity is subjective and based on perception or individual experience of freedom from sentiments of guilt, restrictions of religious ideas, few common concepts about morality with reference to law. Rewards, punishment, incentives, they also play part. The opinion of existentialists that free will is freedom of choice, though it is not every time a pleasure. It means we have to choose sometimes which is not as per our wish or desired by us. Theological explanation about free will is that it is associated with person's knowledge about God, act of kindness, and free will is a divine grace of God. Determinism has different perspective about this concept. They deny free will because they believe that the universe is causally inevitable. It means when people take decision or decide certain action, that moment those things are bound to happen. In a way, it is not true that people are free to decide or act. Hence, they are called hard determinists. There are soft determinists also. What they say? They say that one is free means he is free to desire, but may not free to act every time. So, to take everyday life example, we are free to desire, let us say, to have a world tour, but this tour to happen actually we should have that much of money for tickets, food, accommodations and all. Indeterminism says that some events are random. They support research done by quantum mechanics. They say that some events at quantum levels are unpredictable and therefore they are random, means they are not predefined, and libertarianism rejects intelligibility of the action. It says that human beings have no control on either random events or action, and every action is deterministically inevitable. Free will does not exist. So, students, ask yourself, how thinkers and philosophers have thought of such definitions? Isn't it incredible contribution to the faculty of knowledge? To get the answer to these questions, we need to understand the history of free will. This concept is present from pre-Socrates period. Pythagoras and his followers advocated both freedom and determinism. Like in Indian philosophy, we find the view that the current state of any human being is determined by the actions he or she must have performed in the previous life. Greek thinkers were thinking on the same line at that period. They also argued that all things in the universe are interconnected with some unknown force, but these relations are discoverable. If we humans find the key of those relations, then controlling human affairs is possible. It means some degree of choice is possible. In ancient world, the open discussion on free will started with Socrates era. Till then, the world might have been under the impression that for a common man, life is possible because of the mercy of the king or any good political will. But it is said that Socrates was the person who really shifted the concept of free will from political concept to the psychological notion of individual subjective freedom. He was one of the first Greek philosophers to stress the need for internal self-control. We have seen in module 4 that Socrates' concept of happiness. He says that a happy man is a virtuous man, and every human being can have capacity to acquire virtues. It means Socrates accepts the notion of free will. Human beings have choice to become what they want. After Socrates, his student and admirer Plato started talking about this concept. In his Republic, he describes Socrates' concept of free will. However, he also wrote about a myth of reincarnation. Like Socrates, he also believed in freedom. He says that freedom is a kind of self-mastery and can attain by developing the virtues of wisdom, courage and temperance. It then results in one's liberation from desires, and then one can accurately understand and pursue good. Plato also says that we can exercise free will by purposely choosing good action over natural surrender to evil. Aristotle did not clearly discuss liberty or free will in his writings, but both the concepts are found in his work. Aristotle says that we have power to do or not to do. Much of what we do is voluntary. We are aware of situations and circumstances of the action. So, mature human beings make choices and find out rational actions for themselves. So, it is our power to be either virtuous or vicious. After Aristotle, we find concepts of free will in medieval period, where Christian religion was introduced. Free will came into studies in more details with teachings of Christianity. There are two important teachings of Christianity which give new dimensions to the concept of free will. The first teaching is that man was created by God and commanded to obey a divine moral law, but at the same time the man was promised a reward or punishment, that is called he is a free choice. The second teaching is that the human being is a result of the sin of first man, that is Adam. He is called the sinful choice of first man. However, these medieval writers were not much concerned about proving the existence of free will. Though Saint Augustine insisted on the freedom of the human will and grace is necessary as a merit of man. He also said that God is omnipotent and omniscient, so God would know various motives of human beings. Many such saints then wrote about free will. For example, Saint Anselm says that free will or free choice is not an ability to choose between good or evil, but it is an ability to maintain morality of the will. Saint Thomas said, a man is free with respect to finite goods, but he is determined to the infinite goods. Then came Catholic philosophy, which is also called dominion theology. It says that God pre-moves each man, means prompts each man towards his free action. Every act of creature requires God's input and it is inevitable. So, it means there is no free choice, there is no free will as such. The Protestant of these Catholic theologians, Martin Luther and John Calvin, denied freedom. Their arguments were based on scriptural texts. They said that human beings are predestined and they can never truly be said to have power over their own fate. After this period, we find thoughts and concepts of thinkers of 15th and 16th century. This is called modern world. It starts with determinism. It is similar to the Catholic thoughts that there is no freedom or deliberation, but everything is predetermined. In modern philosophy, there is a long debate on determinism and free will. If determinism is the truth, then none of us can be morally responsible for any of our action. And if free will is the truth, then human beings can be held responsible for their behavior. Hence, in the modern world, that is humanistic approach, which now also we use to analyze human behavior, says that humans have free choice, but not all behavior is determined. Then came Immanuel Kant, who not only presented his views, but he insisted the existence of free will. Let us understand the concepts of Immanuel Kant and other humanitarian thoughts in the next part of this module. Now, before we end this discussion, you all have to answer this question. Take a paper and pen. The question is, which definition of free will matches with various aspects of human development? Now, check your answers with these options: the definition given by ancient Greek philosophers, the definition given by Catholic philosophers, the definition given by Christian philosophers, or the definition given by determinists.